Liverpool's transfer window could be heading towards another dramatic conclusion, with Andoni Iraola making it clear that the Reds are not necessarily finished in the transfer market. Let's break this down. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. The focus has been heavily centered on strengthening the wide areas, and that makes sense given the attacking options Liverpool have lost and the situation surrounding the squad. But what makes Iraola's latest comments particularly interesting is that he has opened the door to additions in other positions as well. And with just days remaining before the transfer deadline, Liverpool supporters could be in for a very busy finale. Speaking ahead of the Nottingham Forest game, Iraola was asked whether there were other areas of the squad he would ideally like to strengthen. His response was certainly worth paying attention to. He admitted that the priority has been strengthening out wide, but then delivered a very clear message. If Liverpool can improve other areas, they will. That immediately raises questions about exactly what could happen before the window closes. Liverpool already appear to be making progress on one of their biggest attacking targets, with the deal in principle for Bradley Barcola reportedly moving closer. But the right-wing position remains an area of concern, with previous approaches for players including Yankuba Minteh failing to produce the desired result, while inquiries have also been made for Ismail Assar and Ibrahim Mbaye. So, even if Barcola arrives, could Liverpool still bring in another winger? And perhaps even more importantly, could they finally address one of the other positions that has been causing concern? Midfield is one obvious possibility. Lamine Camara has been linked with Liverpool, and while Iraola did not name the Monaco midfielder specifically, his comments certainly leave the door open for movement in that area. The Liverpool boss also acknowledged that the club could be dealing with long-term injuries and that, in some positions, the squad is effectively a player down. That could become hugely significant over the final few days. Iraola was also refreshingly honest about the uncertainty surrounding the transfer window, admitting that even he does not know exactly how everything is going to play out. He explained that everyone will have to wait a few more days before Liverpool know exactly what their squad looks like and can make proper plans. And that is perhaps the biggest takeaway from all of this. Liverpool may have a clear priority, but they are not limiting themselves to one position. The club are assessing the overall picture, who arrives, who leaves, the injuries within the squad, and where they can still improve. So while Bradley Barcola could be the headline addition, there is now a very real possibility that Liverpool could have more business to complete before the deadline. The clock is ticking, the market is entering its final stages, and Iraola has essentially told supporters to wait and see. Because if Liverpool identify an opportunity to improve another area of the squad, his message is simple: we will. And with only days remaining, that could mean Liverpool's transfer window is about to get even more interesting. In other news, Liverpool have finally got the breakthrough they have been waiting for in their pursuit of Bradley Barcola, with the Reds reportedly reaching a deal in principle with Paris Saint-Germain for their #1 target. After weeks of negotiations, uncertainty, and plenty of twists along the way, Liverpool are now on the verge of completing a blockbuster deal that could completely transform Andoni Iraola's attack. Barcola became Liverpool's priority target after their pursuit of Yan Diomande failed to materialise, but getting a deal over the line for the 23-year-old has been anything but straightforward. There were serious questions over whether PSG would actually be willing to let one of their most dangerous attacking players leave, but the situation in Paris has changed dramatically in recent days. And now, according to David Ornstein of The Athletic, Liverpool have reached an agreement in principle worth a staggering £100 million up front, with another £20 million potentially due in add-ons. that means Liverpool could ultimately be paying £120 million for Barcola. Now, it is important to stress that the deal is not technically signed and completed just yet. The final details still need to be ironed out, but at this stage it is understood to be a formality. Barcola is then expected to travel for his medical before putting pen to paper on a long-term contract, with his personal terms already agreed. And perhaps just as importantly, the player himself wanted Liverpool. There had been reported interest from Arsenal, but Barcola's preference was a move to Anfield. And after everything Liverpool have done to get this deal into position, they now appear to have their man. What makes this even more interesting is that Liverpool actually considered signing Barcola back in 2025. At the time, however, the club decided against pushing ahead because they did not want to block Rio Numoa's pathway into the first team. But circumstances have changed. With Iraola wanting his wingers to be capable of operating on both flanks, Numoa is now adapting towards the right side, while Liverpool's attack has been crying out for another elite option. And that need became even more obvious following Mohamed Salah's decision to leave the club a year earlier than expected. Liverpool knew back in March that Salah would be departing, yet the search for his replacement dragged on. There was frustration surrounding the lack of an immediate solution, but this latest development suggests Liverpool were prepared to play the long game, and it could now be about to pay off in a very big way. Barcola arrives with a serious reputation. Having come through at Lyon, the Frenchman made 47 appearances for his boyhood club before earning a €45 million move to PSG in 2023. Since then, he has made 152 appearances for the Parisian Giants, scoring 39 goals and providing 37 assists. That is an impressive return, particularly when you consider the level of competition for places at PSG. But it is his profile that makes this move particularly exciting for Liverpool. Barcola is tall, incredibly quick, technically gifted, and capable of taking defenders on at pace. He can stretch a defence, create chances out of nothing, and attack space in a way Liverpool have desperately needed. And while he is not necessarily being brought in as a direct replacement for Salah on the right wing, Liverpool have signed a player who can potentially replace a huge portion of the attacking output they have lost. On the left, he could finally provide the long-awaited successor to Luis Diaz. And with Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, and the rest of Liverpool's attacking options around him, the potential is enormous. The key question now is just how quickly this can all be made official. Because although the paperwork still needs to be completed, Liverpool have seemingly crossed the biggest hurdle of all. The agreement with PSG is there, personal terms are agreed, the medical is next.